do always check ancestry with my clients,
because
I think I often discover, which is interesting, that people have very important relationships with their grandparents. I'm aware when people are named after certain grandparents. I'm aware that there are things that grandparents achieve and that they do that have an influence on the grandchild. And very often the grandparent is admired and an inspiration, and even a comfort, and a solace very many times, because, grandparents, as we know, can offer children what often parents don't manage. So I feel their place in the family history is a very important one. And whether it's grandparents or great-grandparents, if there are certain gifts, if there are certain achievements, or even if there are certain difficult things, like, people have committed crimes of one kind or another, it's a very important dynamic and definitely comes through the system. And I'm very aware of the fact, and very often try to put my patients in touch with the elements that they could have inherited from grandparents, or that they've admired or had been inspired by. So I think it's an important resource. I really do. I find, for example, that very often a patient will, for example, a woman with her mother is often at odds, but grandmother may provide and can provide the affirmation of her worthwhileness, of her value, and help that person to feel some sense of self-esteem. Often between mothers and daughters, there's a lot of competition, as between fathers and sons. So the grandparent here provides and can provide for a person the right amount of esteem and the feeling of worth and the feeling of being a desirable person when that grandparent is there to love, protect, often spoil.
Protect and spoil also.
And spoil, very important. As I say, I don't think I have, not at this moment anyway, I don't have a specific example, but I use it often.
Yeah, what you said already is relevant, that there are some things which are passed on, particularly the permissions to affirmations to say, self-esteem. And I think it's a grandmother and the grandfather certainly plays a huge role in male or female child. Thank you for this, Beulah.
I think also, that perhaps grandparents are more open about their lives, and children also find it very interesting. You seldom ask parents about what their lives were like, but grandparents will often talk about the family history, for example, and give one a kind of a background and give one a context. It is the context that is important that the child may get from a grandparent. Again, and grandparents can also be naughty, they can also describe things that they're not so proud of, or that have been errant, that are not necessarily always good. So I do feel it's a balance. It's a very important balance.
What I understand from you is it's good the parents allow their children to be in contact with the grandparents.
Yes.
And to be curious about life through the grandparents also.
Right.
Because they have crossed certain stages of life. And maybe when they say something, it seems to be affirmative or strong.
Yes.
The potency is quite high for the child to own it.
Right. Okay. Yeah.